Today you learned about market timings, what and when to trade. So we're going to be looking at a few pairs today, and we're going to apply your first indicator. So let's first get the triangulation pairs on our charts. If you remember, that was when we can look at three different pairs to match them up, and it'll help us make our trading decisions. Because if one or two are going one way, then you would expect that, well, the other has to go inverse, right? So let's put together our watch list. So come over here to the right-hand side, and you should see this little bookmark area. This is your watch list. Click on this little add symbol, and you're going to add Euro USD, EURUSD, and let's go ahead and stay with Oanda, just like that. Then let's also add GBP USD, right? The British pound, stick with Oanda. And then we're going to add Euro GBP. All right, that's the euro over the British pound and Oanda. Okay, there we go. And let's drag all of these up into Forex. Now, when you first opened yours, you might have had a whole bunch of them on there. I know I've already cleared these out, but I think there's a whole bunch on there. So if you want, you just take these headers and you can just delete them if you don't want them there anymore, just like that. And then you can delete each individual one that you don't want. So I'm just keeping these three right now, and that makes it quite easy to just toggle between them, just like that. Easy peasy. And then if you ever want to mark them somehow, they do have little flags, as in don't trade, I don't know, however you want your flagging system to go. Where were we? All right, now that we are on Euro USD, let's go back to our week. And we're not going to go too much into triangulation. That's something that you can just look at as you get to be a better trader, and depends on the pairs too, because two of them will usually go one way and then one will go the other, or one will go up, one will go down, and one will be flat. You can kind of even just draw a triangle and see for yourself, you know, the triangulation of it, which one's going where. It's pretty common sense. Okay, but we need to get into market timings. So I want you, close this, then go up to your indicators. And I had one for you, and for some reason, it's not here. So let's see if we can find a market one. These are all of your indicators. There's tools that people have made and put them up on the marketplace here for you. So I'm going to find sessions. Let's go ahead and use this Lux algo. They make quite a bit, and let's star it right there so that it goes in our favorites, okay? And then let's close out here. All right, what this does for us is it puts a layer of Forex market sessions on top of our chart, okay? So what I want you to do now is scroll all the way in, and let's look at right in the middle here. Let's look at Wednesday to Thursday, July 25th, right here. Okay? And if you look very closely, this yellow box here is your Sydney or your pre-market. This is your Tokyo market. Then you have this big move here in London. And then this orange one here is New York. And then it goes back into Sydney, Tokyo, London. Okay? So that is a pretty fun way to see your market timings. Now, let's come in. I don't have a pre-picked day, so let's go to this day here. All right, let's pretend that we are looking at the very edge of our time frame here. We're at Monday the 7th. And we already had this line marked off because we had our support and resistance. We already had our candle pattern marked off because we have this big O railroad tracks right here. And now, let's move this out of the way. Now we have our timing, so our times to trade. Now, we know that Tokyo is the consolidation period. You don't really ever want to trade Tokyo. Most of the action is going to be in London and New York, okay? So if you see that you're starting the day here on Tokyo, you know this is not the time to trade, because let's say that you know you're only supposed to be trading in London and New York, okay? So let's say you come in London and you have this line drawn from yesterday and you see that it comes up and it paints this big railroad tracks right after it hits this high. You can realize that this is the high of the day. Just like we saw a high of the week in the previous example, there's a high and the low of the day. And at each high and the low of the day, you're going to find these big pins. And just like last time, they kind of faked out a low right here. I know this is going into a lot, but if you were to just open it up right at the beginning of London, and this came up, and then you saw this reverse, and as soon as it broke back under this line, under your support and resistance line, when you have this big reversal candle pattern, as soon as you came in to the start of London, remember early moves, you can enter this one short. Typically, you want to be out by the end of your session. You don't want to take it into the next session because the next session has different objectives. So in this case, New York typically reverses and goes the other way, just as you see here. So in the same breath, let's say that you came in New York and this thing's been moving down all day, and then all of a sudden it stops with a pin. And you see that London closes, and then New York, the same thing kind of happens here. It's going to go back and reverse. The New York reversal is pretty common. We're not going to look at many. This just happened to be a really good example, okay? But this is the pattern that we look for, and it shows up over and over. So I want you to go back through, and I want you to look at the days and see how it moves. Do you see how in Tokyo it kind of stays real together here? Do you see how you get these big moves in London and a reversal in New York? Big moves through London. We'll see this one got the big move through New York, and then it reversed about mid-morning New York, okay? So just look through them, and it helps to just come back in every day and look and see for yourself how price is changing every single day. Just coming in and checking it a few minutes, 15 minutes in the seat every day will help you become a better trader. Okay, I want you to play around with those things right now. I actually threw a lot at you. You have a lot more tools than most people. Hopefully you set up your demo account. If you did not, go ahead and do that now. And of course, if you haven't already, and if the market is moving, come into your paper trading and place some just for funsies trade. Place it at the beginning of the day and then wait to see how it plays out, or place it at night and see what happens overnight when London does its thing. So just place it. Either way, 50-50, just to see what happens. It's free money, play money, it doesn't matter. And of course, check back in with the Trade Tribe. I do post a lot of stuff in there, and there should be an open house coming up sometime soon. So be sure to check the live events. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.